My reflection blinked first. An ASMR whisper mirror horror story to be entered into our $250 giveaway. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your favourite thing to do when you're alone at night. There's something intimate about mirrors, don't you think? The way they reflect us back so perfectly. Or so we believe. You stare long enough, and sometimes it feels like your reflection is thinking its own thoughts. Like maybe it's not mimicking you. Maybe it's watching you. It started with a game. I was home alone, just a little bored, a little curious. I turned off the lights, lit a single candle, and stood in front of my bathroom mirror. I'd read somewhere that if you stare into your own eyes long enough, strange things happen. Your face changes, your expression shifts, the lines between you and your reflection blur. So I tried it. I whispered to myself, slow, soft, just to see what I looked like when I spoke like this. My voice was low, hypnotic. I liked the way it sounded, and then I blinked, but the reflection didn't. I tilted my head, heart pounding, just a little faster. My lips parted in surprise. The girl in the mirror smiled, and I hadn't. I turned the lights back on. The moment passed. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe my brain was playing tricks. I laughed it off, but the image stuck with me, that smile. It was slow, confident, almost flirtatious. Later that night, I passed the hallway mirror. I wasn't even looking at it, but I could feel it. That same presence, like eyes grazing your skin without touching. I paused, turned to look, and there she was. Me, but not me. This time she was already smiling. I ran my fingers along the mirror's edge, cold, smooth. I pressed my palm to the glass, and for a split second, it felt warm on the other side. I pulled away. The next night, I couldn't help myself. I lit the candle again, sat cross-legged on the bathroom counter, just watching, just listening. She moved first, tilted her head slightly to the left. My body stayed still. I felt goosebumps crawl up my spine. She leaned closer. So did I. It was like we were pulling each other in, breath by breath. And then she blinked. First, that's when I knew. This wasn't a reflection anymore. This was someone, something that had been waiting. She didn't speak, but I swear I could hear her, in my head, whispering soft little promises, like she could show me things no one else could. Secrets, desires, darkness wrapped in velvet. I asked her, "What do you want?" She mouthed back, "You already know." And the truth is, I did. I started spending more time in front of mirrors. Not because I liked how I looked, but because I couldn't stop watching her. She was magnetic. Every glance pulled me in deeper. My friends started asking why I wasn't answering my phone. I told them I was busy, but I wasn't. I was home, with her. One night, I woke up at 3 a.m. The hallway light was off, but the bathroom door was open. Just a crack. The candle was lit, and the mirror was fogged up like someone had been breathing on it. I stepped inside. No one else was in the apartment. I reached for the light switch, but it wouldn't turn on. The only glow came from the flickering candle. She was already in the mirror, smiling, tilting her head, and this time she whispered out loud, "Come closer." My breath caught in my throat, but I stepped forward. Slowly, she raised her hand to the glass. So did I. Our fingertips touched, just barely, through the surface. The mirror rippled, and I felt a pull, like something behind the glass wanted me, like she was reaching through to take my place. Forever. Not violently, not forcefully, but seductively. A dance, a tease, like she was inviting me into her I slammed the bathroom door, turned on every light in the apartment. I even covered the mirror with a blanket. But it didn't matter. Every screen I looked at after that showed her. My phone screen, my laptop camera, the dark reflection in the window. She was always there, always watching. I tried to avoid mirrors altogether. The dark reflection in the window. She was always there, always watching. I tried to avoid. But have you ever noticed how many there are? Every store, every elevator, every puddle after it rains. She started showing up in places she shouldn't be, blinking when I didn't, grinning when I cried. She followed me into my dreams. Mirrors altogether. I'd find myself in a hallway lined with mirrors, some scared, each one with a version of me inside. Some crying, some smiling, like her. She was in every one, and she was always closest. The last time I saw her, she mouthed something I couldn't quite understand. I leaned in, lip reading. She said, "You blinked." I didn't remember blinking, but when I looked up, she was gone, and I was on the other side of the glass, watching myself, and now she's in here, living my life, wearing my clothes, laughing in my voice. I can see her from this side. She walks past the mirror and never looks back. But maybe if you listen closely enough,